Hey YouTube, James from the Wyvern Watch here with another deck profile, and as promised from the last video I did, this is the deck profile for my 50th deck, the first pendulum deck I've ever built, and of course it is Majespecter. As you can tell from the description, it's also featuring a little bit of Dracoslayer, but I don't see how you can't do because of the artwork that's available to the archetype. So yeah, I spent a little bit of time building this one. I was in no particular panic, managed to get all the components in place now. So it'll be a full deck. It's, like I say, it's a pure Majespecter with a little bit of Dracoslayer. Yeah, like I say, it's my first pendulum build. I'm not very confident with pendulum decks, I have to say. But I just wanted to make sure I've got something of everything sort of thing. So obviously I've got link decks, I've got XCs decks, I've got synchro decks, I've got fusion decks, you know, all the different summoning mechanics. And I've got, obviously up to this point I've got 0 pendulum, and that's mainly because I wasn't particularly interested. I certainly wasn't interested in having 2 lots of effects on every card. Which I suppose is why this one sort of suits me a little bit better, because obviously there's not much in the way of pendulum effects as such, apart from maybe the Dracoslayer stuff. But I just thought it might suit me a little bit better because it's spellcasters. This is what I mentioned in the sort of the building video that I did earlier. If you haven't already seen that, go and have a look, because that's sort of just showing you through Edo Pro what I'm sort of putting together. It's predominantly a wind deck as well, which, if you've seen my profiles, there's certainly a few wind types in there, wind attributes in there. So it all fits, and this is basically what I've got. So let's get on with it without me wittering on too much. So the first 3 of Raccoon Bumbuku, of course. I had to spend the time and indeed the cash in order to get the collector's rares, because I did have one of the original ultra rare types pulled fresh from the pack, but when this came out I really fancied it, because the foiling behind the Raccoon itself is just incredible. It's a really pretty card. So I decided to plump for the 3 of collector's rares. Of course, when this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Majespecter monster from deck to hand. And then once per turn, while this card is in your monster zone, your opponent cannot target with card effects, also cannot be destroyed by card effects. So that last effect is a similar effect on all of the Majespecter monsters. So I won't go obviously through, I won't mention it on all of them, but just to let you know that's on there. The next 3 of course is Porcupine, Yamarashi. So during the main phase, if you control a Majespecter monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from the hand, and then if this card is normal or special, you can target 1 Majespecter spell in your graveyard and set it. And then of course you can't target this card with card effects or be destroyed by card effects, which I suppose is why a lot of people are not a big fan of Majespecter, I have to say. But the artwork's too good to let up, in my opinion. So Majespecter Crow, Yatta, another 3 of. I picked up the rares on this one just because I think I just preferred it, to be honest. But when this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Majespecter spell from deck to hand, and obviously that's all once per turn. And also it can't be targeted or destroyed by oh yes, that's right, you can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Some of them are worded slightly differently depending on the set that the card's been released in, but most of them are the Dimension of Chaos, of course, which includes this one. Oh no, sorry, my mistake. This is actually the Mega Pack 16, so quite an old card now, to be fair. This is Majespecter Cat, Nekomata. So when this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Majespecter card from deck to hand during the end phase of the turn, and again it can't be targeted or destroyed. So lots of searching going on, but obviously that's a great one, but obviously the only downside is that it's obviously towards the end phase. Then we've also got 2 Majespecter Toad, So when this card is normal or special, you can set one Majespecter spell or trap directly from your deck, but it can't activate this turn. And again, it can't be targeted or destroyed. That's a cool looking one. And on to a few one-offs. So we've got Majespecter Unicorn and Kirin, which of course freshly off the ban list, and Majespecter Fox Kyubi. So Kirin, during either player's turn, you can target one pendulum monster in the monster zone, and one monster your opponent controls return to the hands. You can only use the effect of Kirin once per turn and can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And then Kyubi is when this card is normal or special, you can add one Majespecter trap from directly from deck to hand, and again can't be targeted or destroyed. Really cool cards. Now this one is the start of the Dracoslayer lineup, and this is really one of the main cards that sort of tempted me into building, because this card is absolutely beautiful. I really enjoy it. Look at that, you know, that was absolutely brilliant artwork. So this is Majesty Pegasus, the Dracoslayer, and of course its first line is it can always be treated as a Majespecter card, which is great. Quick effect, this card can, you can discard this card for the rest of the turn. Your opponents cannot target Dracoslayer monsters you control with card effects, also they cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. And if this card is special summoned by the effect of a Dracoslayer card or pendulum summoned, you can add one field spell from your deck to your hand, then discard one card. And then its pendulum effect is if you have a Dracoslayer or Majespecter card in your other pendulum zone, you can add one Dracoslayer pendulum monster with a different original name than that card from your deck to your hand. Then you can destroy one card in your pendulum monster zone. And obviously you can only do that once per turn. So yeah, a bit of a mouthful. This is, like you say, there's a lot of text on the pendulum monster cards, and that's why originally I didn't really want to do it. But like I say, I think Majespecter suits me down to the ground. On to the rest of the Dracoslayer lineup. So we've got two Luster Pendulums. So its monster effect is cannot special summon fusion, synchro, or XV monsters using this card as material except Dracoslayer monsters. And its pendulum effect is once per turn you can have a card in other. Sorry, if you have a card in the other pendulum zone, you can destroy that card, and if you do, add one card from your deck to your hand with the same name as that card. So two of those. And then a couple of one-offs. So we've got one Master Pendulum, the Dracoslayer, and one Dynamite Power Lord, the Dracoslayer. This one normally isn't my kind of artwork, I have to say, but I just liked its effect actually. So it's the one, you know, I tend not to play cards I don't like the look of, but just the one-off on this occasion. So Master Pendulum, obviously it's a vanilla monster, so no monster effect. But pendulum effect, once while this card is in the pendulum zone, you can target one card in a pendulum zone and destroy it. And then Dynamite Power Lord, the Dracoslayer. Monster effect is this always treated as a Dynamis card, which is irrelevant in this deck, of course. But if this card is tributed, you can add one Dracoslayer or Dynamis Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. And then that's once per turn, of course. And then pendulum effect, you can target one Dracoslayer or Dynamis card in your other pendulum zone, special summon it. You can only use the effect of Dynamite Power Lord, the Dracoslayer, once per turn. The only other thing with this card is, of course, you can special summon from the pendulum zone, but it's scale 6, of course, which just opens it up to pendulum summon level 5s, which might may come up. So it's just that's one of the another reason why I sort of chose to add that to it, because it just gives you a slightly better range if we need it. The last of the monsters is, of course, 3 Effect Veiler. I brought this up on the last video, of course, but 3 Effect Veiler. Obviously, it's a tuner level 1, which is always sometimes useful. It's a spellcaster, which fits in the deck nicely, and of course, it's a hand trap, and a good one at that. Okay, so that's it for monsters. Let me just run through the spells. So the first and only 3 of is Majespecter Wind. This, of course, is the newer one. So when you activate this card, you can also tribute 1 wind spellcaster monster, special summon 1 Majespecter monster from your hand or graveyard, and if you tributed a monster on activation, you can special summon 1 Majespecter monster from your deck instead. So again, quick play spell, but again, the artwork is super on this, super rare as well. But what have you got there? That's Kieran in the front there, and then that's Pegasus Dracoslayer, isn't it, in the background? Really cool looking card. And then some of the older stuff, we've got 5 one-offs, so we'll see if we can get all those in. So we've got Majespecter Storm, Majespecter Cyclone, Majesty's Pegasus. We'll do those 3 first of all, and then come back to it. So all one-offs, because obviously they're very much searchable. So tribute 1 spellcaster monster, then target 1 monster your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck, which is Majespecter Storm, nice and easy. But again, I really like the artwork on that one, that's cool. That's cat going off, isn't it? Majespecter Cyclone, tribute 1 wind spellcaster monster, then target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. But that is the quick play spell as well, so that makes it slightly better. And then of course you've got the field spell, which is Majesty's Pegasus. So all Majespecter monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. You can tribute 1 wind spellcast type monster, special summon 1 level 4 or lower Majespecter monster from your deck. You can only use the effects of Pegasus once per turn. And then a couple more one-offs. So we're doing incorporate 1 secret village of the spellcasters, and obviously it's a spellcaster deck, so it makes sense. And of course a terraforming to search that and the Pegasus. Last of the spells, as you can imagine, I always generally run 2 forms of back row removal. We've got Twin Twisters on this occasion, just because it fits the theme with the sort of air and tornado sort of thing. Speaking of tornadoes, the first of the traps, and we're running 2 of these. So Majespecter Tornadoes, tribute 1 wind spellcaster type monster, then target 1 monster your opponent controls and banish it. So again, really nice little card. I can't see any reason why not to play 2 of those, to be honest. And then last of the Majespecter spells, so we've got 1 of each of Majespecter Supercell and Majespecter Tempest. So Tempest, 1 a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated. Tribute 1 wind spellcaster type monster, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy the card. And then Majespecter Supercell, while you have a Majespecter card in your Pendulum Zone, the activation and effects of other Majespecter cards activated on your side of the field cannot be negated. Or once per turn, you can target 5 Majespecter cards in your graveyard and shuffle all 5 into the deck and draw a card, which of course is a continuous spell. And the last of the traps, I have just incorporated 2 Solemn Strike, just as a little teaser for your opponent to worry about, really. That's all that is. That brings you to the end of the main deck. That's 41 cards. You know, you can play about with this as much or as little as you want to. I didn't want to incorporate loads and loads of hand traps. I just wanted to have most of the engine bits and pieces, multiples of. You know, you could always incorporate a pot of prosperity if you really wanted to, but I didn't see any need, to be honest with you. Running to the extra deck though, because this is where it gets you. There's quite a lot of fun in here. So as you saw before, we're running 2 Majespecter Draco Ryus. Again, another reason why I decided to build a deck, just because this one came out, and obviously it's quarter century, which is a really, really good looking card. I put them in the green, I think they're forest green Dragon Shield matte car sleeves, and obviously with the KMC oversleeve as well, which I always do on my deck, my extra deck, sorry. So, monster effect is if you can pendulum summon level 4, you can pendulum summon this card face up from your extra deck. If a monster is tributed while this card is on the field, except during the damage step, you can detach 1 material from this card, special summon 1 level 6 or lower wind spellcaster monster from your deck. You can only use the effect of Majespecter Draco Ryu twice per turn, and if this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or card effect or tributed, you can place this card in your pendulum zone. And then of course you've got the pendulum effect. So if you have a Majespecter or Dracoslayer card in your other pendulum zone, you can add one Majespecter card from your deck to your hand. Then you can destroy one card in your pendulum zone. You can only use the effect of Majespecter Draco Ryu once per turn. Really super card for the archetype, I don't think it's worth playing 3, but you know, you could consider it. It's certainly worth playing 2, I would have thought. For the last of the XCs monsters, then we've got Master Pendulum, the Ascending Dracoslayer, 1 Tornado Dragon, and 1 Leviair, the Sea Dragon. So Master Paladin, the Ascending Dracoslayer, I think I said that correctly this time. I have had this since I started pulling Dark Destroyers for Cosmos when Dimension of Chaos first came out. So that must be at least 8 or 9 years ago now, I guess. But absolutely stunning card. It's been sat in a folder for that length of time, and I finally found a reason to use it. So there's no way I wasn't playing it. But yeah, super card. So when this card is XYZ summoned, you can add 1 pendulum monster from deck to hand during the end phase of the turn. And then once per turn, you can attach 1 material from this card, special summon 1 face-up Dracoslayer pendulum monster from your extra deck, but it cannot be used as material for a summon. And then we've got, of course, my staple Tornado Dragon, which again fits the theme with the tornado. But I generally run it in any sort of deck that can take a rank 4. And Leviair just for a couple of level 3s, just so I've got an option. And again, in the ultimate rare on this one, Generation Force, I think it was from this card. I've had this for a little while as well, but it came out of a deck, one of my other decks now, I can't remember which. Onto links then, and there's a few links on here. So we've got Majespecter Orthrus, which is the new one, of course. There we go. Again, a super looking card. Honestly, I really love the new artwork that's been coming. Requires 2 pendulum monsters, including a Majespecter monster. And if this card is link summoned, you can add up to 2 Majespecter pendulum monsters from your extra deck to your hand. Then you can add up to 2 pendulum monsters with different names from your deck to, from your extra deck to your hand. Then you can add up to 2 Majespecter pendulum monsters with different names from your deck to your face-up extra deck. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Majespecter or Dracoslayer monsters, which is, again, an ideal effect. So obviously get the engine running very quickly with this card. And with it being a pendulum deck, I did want to run Beyond the Pendulum as well, mainly because I think I mentioned it in the video, but I've really had a super looking card, but I just never had a deck that I could use it in until now, of course. So Beyond the Pendulum's in there. I've also got standard Nightmare Phoenix, of course, and 1 Nightmare Unicorn, which is the Platinum Secret Rare out of Rarity Collection 1. The Platinum Secret Rare out of Rarity Collection 2 is not as nice, in my opinion. I think just having the elements of the Secret Rare on the card is much nicer than having the whole card as Secret Rare. And of course, this is the alt art one, which is my new favourite form of unicorn. So there's those 3. Then we've got an Exceed the Pendulum, 1 Celine, again in the Platinum Secret Rare Rarity Collection 1, Celine, and 1 Access Code Talker, which is Rarity Collection number 2, I believe. Yes, it is. All fairly standard stuff. And the last 2 cards are just to help the engine along, but I did manage to find a Clash of Rebellion Ignis the Prominence. As I mentioned in the video, I had 1 or 2 of these, actually pulled them myself, but I went to sell them because I wasn't interested in Dracoslayers at the time. So that's in there, and of course we've gone for Dinoster Power, the Mighty Dracoslayer, as a quick fusion option, because of course you don't need polymerization to summon it. So that's it, guys, for the Majespecter deck. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. Whether I build deck number 50 is still a question mark at the moment. At the moment, I'm not sort of looking for anything particular to build. I was going to look at White Woods that's just come out or just coming out. But I don't think it's for me. Just not quite enough of the cards that sort of float in my boat, sort of thing. But guys, yeah, I hope you like my Majespecter build, or my take on Majespecter. Feel free to put in the comments what you think of it. Any bits that you like, any bits that you think I should be amending straight away. Just to give you an example, my Valkyrie profile went up not long ago, and one of the guys that sort of commented was kind enough to tell me that the Arclaw Christias just don't work in the deck. I actually had 2 of them in there as well, so I've switched those out for Logief now. And obviously next time I do that profile, you'll see the update. But that's that kind of information that I use, and obviously amend my decks. Just little tricks like that maybe that I've just missed when putting the decks together. Thank you once again, guys. We're getting ever closer to that 500 subscriber mark. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. I know we're a fledgling channel, but we're looking to get to 500. That's the next goal, or the next milestone, I keep calling it, isn't it? But we're not too far away. Guys, thank you once again. Speak to you next time.